Hi, welcome to WiseCat. So today we're going to be talking about groups and groupings. It's rather an abstract concept, but a very powerful way to reduce your labor as a teacher. Everything that we'll be talking about today can be done by teachers, so as long as you've got a teacher role, you should be able to do this no problem. One of the most common uses, I think, for groups is to just separate the groups into, say, a third period and a fourth period group. That is really a basic usage, and that's what I've actually set up here. I've got pretty much an empty Moodle Duck Studies here, and I've got a bunch of fake users in here. So actually, I'm going to get out of the way. Shrink me! Oh, yay. So you can see that I've got a participants list here, and I've got groups. I've got two groups set up, Monday 4th period and Monday 3rd period. So I'm going to show you just how to use these, and to first of all to split the classes and class activities and provide stuff for one class while not providing it from the others. We'll talk briefly about announcements and sending announcements to people on a class-by-class basis. And then we'll actually talk about doing things, more interesting stuff like assignments and setting up tasks and resources and things on a, say for pairs, pair work, and group work. So we do have a lot to cover in this one. But anyway, let's get straight to it. So going back to our course here, we have our stuff done by classes, and the way to actually view our classes is to go to the participants. But for groups in particular, it's good to go beyond the cog icon. And if you go to groups here, you can actually see that we've got these two groups here, and you can actually see the members inside them here. Or you can actually go here for an overview and see what sort of groups you've got, and also what groupings or things like that can also be viewed here. Groupings, interesting concept. So what we're going to, well, first of all, the concept of a grouping is that if you have, say, two classes here, right? These groups how are these groups separated? Well, by class. So you could say that this is a class grouping. Grouping is a terrible word for it, I think, but it basically means groups of groups. Okay, very, very weird explanation that I'm sure is absolutely useless. So let's have a look at making a grouping and create some sense out of this. So as I said, I've got two class groups, so I'm going to make a grouping called classes, right? And that's what it's called. And then this grouping is going to have two groups inside of it. If I come here and add the two groups inside of it, 3 and 4, Monday 3 and Monday 4. So now I've got my Monday 3rd period group, my Monday 4th period group are in that grouping. So if we come here, I haven't really done anything. All I've just said is that I've got a grouping. I've got groupings that are called classes, and inside of the classes grouping here, I've got Monday 3 and Monday 4. That's all I've set up so far. Why is that useful? Well, it's useful down the track when you actually go back to the course. And for example, the announcements forum is a really good one to have by classes, because you might actually be telling students, you might want to send announcements by class and say, okay, Monday 3rd period, your test will start at what time? Monday 4th period, your test will start at what time? They're not going to be the same time. So we want to be able to send individual messages to each of our classes. And so the simplest way to do this is to open up module settings and say we're going to have separate groups, so each class cannot see the messages meant for the other class, and we're going to use classes as our default grouping. So now the classes will be separated, and we still have the ability to send a message to all participants, but we also have this grouping of classes by default, so that gives us a few additional advantages. So for example, now when we send out an announcement, I can actually look in here and I can say Monday 3, only send a message to Monday 3 students. And that message will go to all Monday 3rd period students, but not to the 4th period students. This will go to all Monday 4th period students. And if I select all participants, it goes to all participants. So that alone is fairly convenient. The reason to have this grouping of classes specified here, though, it's not really necessary unless you have additional groups. Groupings allows us to keep that as by classes and yet have additional stuff done as, say, pair work or group work assignments. So let's go back and make a few more groups. And let's make a lot more groups, actually. So in pair work activities here, let's say that I want to get my students to do, I don't know, a chat. Let's say chat rooms. I want them to talk to each other via chat during the class, you know, texting each other just because, why not? That's an activity. All right, so for that, I could, in theory, I could, in here, turn editing on and add an activity and say, okay, chat room here, I've got a chat here, and I could say, talk with your partner. And I could say down here, restrict access and restrict it to just 2 people and make a separate chat room for every single pair in the entire course. I could do that, but I choose not to because this is a really, really hard way of doing it. What I do want to do is do group mode. So I'll go separate groups on that one again. And this time, but by classes, I don't want the whole class coming into one chat room. I want separate groups. I want them to be just in pairs. Just one chat room per pair of students. So, okay, let's do that. I'm going to just save this temporarily right now. But that's actually by classes. But we're going to change this to be by pairs. So the way we do this is we go to our participants, go to the gear icon, and we're going to go to groups here. Now, we want to have pairs, but we also want to have pairs of the same classes. So what we're going to do, though, but we don't care, you know, match them up. So we're just going to auto-create groups. Now, Moodle's auto-create groups tool is actually pretty powerful. So I'm going to do the naming scheme. I'm going to say, okay, group, no, I'm going to call it Mon3 pair and a letter A, B, C, D, or something like that. All right, I'm going to say auto create based on members per group. The group member count should be 2 because I want them to be pairs. All right. Group messaging, yes or no, doesn't really matter in this particular instance because I'm just going to use it as a book. But if you want to enable group messaging, that means using the messaging thing up here. They can actually send messages to the group. Not really relevant because I'm doing a chat room for this one. Select members with role student, yep. From cohort, if you're using cohorts, you can do that. But I'm actually just going to select from group and say, I want all the people from Monday 3. I want them to be added to pairs. I want pairs made out of that. Allocate members randomly. Yeah, I've got some options there too. I'm going to prevent the last small group because otherwise the last small group theoretically could be a single person alone. And so I don't want that. If it's an odd number of students, I want the last group to have 3 members, not 1. And I can include only active enrollment, so anyone who's actually not in the class properly, well, they won't be able to do that. I've also got this grouping section here, right down the bottom, and this gives me another option to add these newly created groups to a grouping. I can say no grouping, I can say new grouping, and I can say classes. Well, classes is the existing grouping, and these aren't classes, these are pairs. So I want a new grouping, and I want to call it, well, what should I call it? Wait a minute, I hear something. Quack, quack. That sounds like Rubber Ducky is coming in. And Rubber Ducky has the Rubber Ducky's wingtip of the day. Yeah, this is kind of goofy, but I decided that from now on, I'm going to have a little bit more fun with these videos. So here we go. Rubber Ducky's wingtip of the day is name your groupings for the activities where they'll be used, or basically how they're going to be used. So the activities that I'm going to be using for this particular one are pairwork activities. So what I really want to say is pairwork activities. So those are the kinds of activities that I'm going to be using this grouping with, right? So I'm going to do that, and I'll just submit there like that. Submit, and now I've got month 3 pair, month 3 pair, month 3. And you can see that in my course list here, I also have one group that has 3 members. I've got no groups that have 1 member because that didn't want that. But wait a minute, what about Monday 4th period? I don't have any pairs for them. Well, yeah, let's create some more groups. And we're going to call this one Mon4 pair. And ABCD is fine, same sort of thing. We're going to do the exact same thing again, 2 members per group. Group messaging, no. We want to actually have this time from Monday 4th period. So only choose from students from Monday 4th period. Do it randomly, preventing a last small group. And the grouping, this time, we're still going to go with pairwork activities. So this time, all of our students in pairs are still going to be, they're all going to be, even though there's 2 classes, they're going to be in pairs, but all the pairs are under the same grouping. And this is important because it means that chat thing, I only need to make it once. I don't need to make it twice. Even though I'm doing it with 2 classes, I only need to make it once. So anyway, I can submit that. You can preview beforehand if you like. I'm just pretending that I know what I'm doing. And here we go. I've got a whole bunch of new groups are made now. So now I've got something like 30 or 40 groups there for the pairs. And if I go to my overview, you can see I've got my classes grouping here with Monday 3, Monday 4. And then I've got pairwork activities grouping. And pair A has these students in, pair B, pair C, pair 4, and down here for the Monday 4th period as well, they're also in pairwork activities grouping. Okay, so now coming back to the course. Remember this chat room? We want to have pairs able to do that. All we have to do now, in order to get this working properly, is edit the settings and change it so that the common module settings, the grouping is pairwork activities. And that's it, save and display. Boom. Now, only students who are in one of these groups, in one of these pairs, would be able to access it. And if a student accesses it from Monday 3 pair, this is actually, you might have noticed if I change the group, the page reloads, because that's actually reloaded it to the chat room for this pair. So essentially I've just made chat rooms for every single pair of students that I have. And instead of doing, copy the activity 50,000 times, it's already done. So that's the useful thing about pairwork activities here. So my announcements are by classes. But here, my chat room is by pairwork activities. Now let's say, in addition to that, I want my students to, let's say I want them to submit an assignment. Summary of your pair discussions. Right? I can create an assignment here, summary for the pair discussions and things. And when I come down here into submissions here as well, I can say, I can say group mode as well. I can say that I want that to be separate groups and I want it to be pairwork activities because this is a pairwork activity here. I also have in an assignment module, sorry, not submissions, group submission settings. And I can say, okay, students submit in groups, and I want that to be yes this time. Require group to make submission. Right? If you don't have a group, then you can't submit anything. Sure, why not? Require all group members submit? No, we don't require all groups to submit because students are submitting in groups. So any one student can support on behalf of the group. And then again, we get asked this question about groupings. And so I'm going to say pairwork activities because this is a summary of your paired discussions. So now that I've done that, I can save and return to course. And now this is also pairwork activities. It's the exact same groupings, so the exact same pairs are going to be able to access these, talk to each other using these, this chat room, and also they'll be able to submit. One of them can submit for both of them as a representative for both of them in the summary of your pair discussions assignment. So the cool thing about having groups defined at the course level is that we can recycle those groups in different activities. But then again, we'll say, yeah, okay, that's great for pairworks. Now what if we want to have, say, a second assignment down here, but we want to have that in groups of 5? No problem, no problem, no problem. Let's go up here to our course and let's make some more groups. So behind the gear icon, go down here, we're going to auto create some groups. Let's make some groups. And I might call this one just group work. And I'm going to, actually this time I won't even split them up. I will say, you know, this is a entirely online thing that they should be doing. And so the idea is that they have to work online between the classes, so they'll have some people from each class. That'd be great. Yeah, why not? So let's just randomly do this. So I'm not even going to specify which group. Okay, you probably wouldn't actually do this in real life, but anyway, not going to specify the group. I am just going to say randomly allocate, say number of groups, no, number of members per group, 5 members per group. Group messaging, sure, that might help them with their preparations for the assignment. Prevent the last small group, sure, don't want to have a last group of, say, 3 people or something. And grouping for the auto-created groups. Let's say this one is now our group work assignment. Right, so we do that and we can submit that. And so again, I've named it group work assignment because later on I'm going to be using these groups. And you can see I've got buckets of groups now, but they're organized. I've got my classes, which there are 2 of those. I've got group work assignment groups, which are the ones I just created, and there are 20 of those. And then I've got pair work activities, and there are 49 pairs. Right? And each of these I can use differently. Oh, and right down the bottom, this is actually fairly useful sometimes if you're looking for someone who's not in a group or a pair there's something that's not in a grouping. You can actually spot those down here. I'm the teacher of this course, so I'm not in a group. That's okay. I don't have to participate. All right. Anyway, we go back to Duck Studies now. Let's set up our group assignment. So what type should we set up? Let's see. Well, let's just set up a forum first so that they can talk to the a forum for your group. And we'd probably put something in here in the description saying, you know, feel free to discuss your assignment with your fellow teammates in this forum. To make this forum only available for people in the one group, we set the common module settings, we set the group mode to separate groups, we set the grouping to this time group work assignment. So there we go, we can save and display that, and there we go, we've got this group work ABCD. You can notice there's no pairs in here, there are no classes in here because its group work assignment is the grouping. come back to Duck Studies and we can add the final assignment submission place. And we'll say submit your group work assignment here, and we can add better instructions later, also dates and things like that we want to add. But what we want to have here in particular is our group submission settings, and we want to say yes to students submitting groups. Require group, yes, we want to make sure that only people who are in groups can submit. And grouping, actually, I mean, this is not entirely important, but if you have a student who's not in a group, that's a problem. So make sure that you get your students in the groups properly. Otherwise, they might be submitting here and they're not part of a group, so it comes up as only them having submitted. So only that student who's not in a group submitting. So it sucks. So I actually like having this set to yes, even though it doesn't really come up because I'm looking at the groups and making sure that there's no student left behind. And the grouping here, oh, pair work activities. No, not pair work activities. This one's the group work assignment. So I'm going to choose the group work assignment. Grouping. Okay, so that I can do that and I can save and display. Okay, oh, there's a tour. Great, fantastic. But anyway, here it is. When students actually come in, they will be able to submit as groups. And so I'm expecting 20 submissions in total, 1 per group. Okay, so stuff done by classes also. If I have something like, oh, I don't have it installed on this one. But I was thinking, you know, something like a board activity or something. Say hello to your fellow classmates in a more anonymous way. You might want to do the board, or I don't know, class choice. Choice. Why not? Let's do a choice mod. Should pineapple be on pizza? Sure. Let's ask the age-old question. We'll get the students warring. Why not? Display horizontally. No, let's go vertically on that. Let's just copy that to the description straight up there. There's the question. Allow choice to be updated. No, you answer once. That's it. That's your question. Option 1. Let's say, should pineapple be on pizza? No. Option 2. No. No way. Okay, so there are options, and we can set this also to be separate groups and say by classes. So we want to get the results per class as to who's going. I know. I'm going to get crucified if people. Okay, fine. There's your yes option. All right. So anyway, you can save that, save and display that. And now even when people have started answering, they will answer by either being Monday 3 or Monday 4 because this is a class-based activity. Right? So when I look at the results afterwards as well over here in the view responses, I'll be able to see responses who responded based on what class they're in. I say, oh, interesting, Monday 3rd period people. A lot of them say they like their pineapple on the pizza. Okay. Monday 4 people are have more taste. Yeah, well, oh, it's so controversial. Okay, anyway, the idea is that I can actually now, with separate groupings set up and groups set inside of those groupings, I can set activities very easily for either whole class activities, pair work activities, or group work assignment activities. Oh, and this last one here, submit by group work, but it's not actually displaying the group work thing. That's because I didn't actually do the common module settings. But I should just go here and here, group work assignment. In the assignment module, there are actually 2 places where you can set the grouping. One is for how they're submitting, and the other thing is just how the assignment itself should be viewed. This is more so for the students, and this is more so for the teachers. But it's a good idea to set both. For the teachers, once you've set it like that, the teacher can actually come in here and have a look a bit easier using this separate groups drop down. Okay, so that's pretty much it for groups and groupings. So just to sum up, groups are a great way to separate out student coursework into things that they will do either by classes or by individual small pairs or individual groups for given activities. Groupings can be assigned to activities, which determines how this the student should be separated into groups for these activities. And the advantage of doing that at the course level is that if you set the groups and groupings at the course level, it means that you can use them in multiple activities each. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this video. I hope that makes more sense than, well, previously I've tried to explain this via text. Don't really think it worked. It's a fairly abstract concept, a little bit tricky to get used to using, but once you get used to using it, ooh, it's powerful. So I hope this helps you in your teaching. Be happy Moodling. Catch you in the next video. See ya.